Shalom, Gabe Greenberg here, Rabbi of Congregation Beth Israel of New Orleans, Louisiana, learning with you this week the commentary of the Netziv on the weekly Torah portion. This week we are beginning the book of Numbers, Sefer Bamidbar, with the opening Parsha, which is Parshat Bamidbar. So we'll be looking at Numbers chapter 3, verse 9. In this section, God is saying to Moses that the time has come to separate out the Leviim, the Levites, for service in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, in the desert. And we're going to explore the phraseology of one of the clauses that's used in this section. Says the verse, Pasuk Tet, verse 9, V'natata et ha-Leviim, so give the Leviim, the Levites, le'aron u'levanav, to Aaron and to Aaron's children, Aaron the high priest. Nitunim hemalo, they will be wholly given over to him. Me'et b'nei Yisrael, from the children of Israel. So I want to focus on the conclusion of this verse. These three words, Me'et b'nei Yisrael, from the Israelites. The question is, what does it mean that the Levites are being given from or from out of the Israelites? It might imply that the Levites belonged to the Israelites, such that the Israelites can give them to Aaron for divine service in the Mishkan. Rashi says that this word me'et b'nei Israel, Rashi picks up on it and says kamo mitoch b'nei Israel, which is to say that the Levites are taken from among or from amidst the children of Israel. It's a portion of the broader Jewish people are going to serve in the temple. The Netziv goes in a different direction and says, what does it mean, Me'et b'nei Yisrael? De be'eretz Yisrael nitan ma'aser b'nei Yisrael chalaf avodatam. That as long as the Levites, as long as this whole system is taking place within the land of Israel, there is a quid pro quo, a give and take, in that the Israelites give meiser, which we translate as tithes. There was a certain types and amounts of tithes that the Israelites would give at certain points in the year, and the tithes went to the temple and were distributed amongst the Kohanim and the Leviim, chalaf avodatam, in exchange for the work of, here we're talking about the Levites, ubezeh kanu otam b'machir parnasatam lavodat Hashem. The Netziv uses a very interesting word choice here, and he says, because of this quid pro quo, namely that the Levites will do divine service and the Israelites will, from their own wealth, from their own agricultural output, will give charity, will give tithes, will give meiser to the temple, that in a sense you could say that the Israelites acquired the Levites through this price, through their parnasah, through their giving of their work, of their salary, as they for their work, their divine service. Umehem nitnu lekohanim shiamdu lifnehem. So the Israelites, because they sort of acquired on some level the Levites, they say, all right, we are allowed to sort of say what you have to do now, and we are going to give you, as it were, to Aaron. You're going to serve the Kohanim and with the Kohanim and what needs to be done in the temple. So it's a very interesting idea that the Netziv offers, that there's this quid pro quo, this tit for tat, that because the Israelites give meiser, that gives them a purchase power, as it were, in what the Levites have to do. And so they say, we're going to give you to Aaron. And that, according to the Netziv, is what it means when the verse says, Me'et b'nei Yisrael. It was literally from the Israelites, because the Israelites they acquired the service, the work of the Levites, and they choose to give it to Aaron and to the kahuna in the temple. The Netziv continues. He says, why is it that he sort of supports his claim here and notes that earlier in the verse, the words nitunim nitunim hema, that the Levites were fully given over. So it's a little odd that the word nitunim is repeated twice. So he says, why is it repeated twice? Hainu misrael umeatzmam. They were both given from the Israelites, the Jewish people, but they also gave of themselves. The Levites gave themselves over to divine service. Ki biratzonam masru atzmam lekach. So he says it's not just that the Israelites bought their service and chose to assign them to the Kohanim in the temple, but that also the Levites wanted this. It was their own, it was desirous to them as well. And he goes on to note that the Targum Onkelos, the Aramaic translation, which translates the phrase to be Mesirin Yehivin, that they both, and he says this lines up as well, that they, Mesirin, which is related to Mesirah, that's like the fact that the Israelites transferred ownership of them, but Yehivin has this notion that they gave of themselves. So both are happening. I think the Netziv wants to argue this point that Meiser, that tithing in this form of agricultural gifting to the temple, gave the Israelites purchase power in what the Levites could do, but he wants to soften that blow, because it's a bit of a radical claim to say that the Levites were being sort of bought and sold, by adding that really the Levites wanted that as well. They wanted to give of themselves to the temple as well. So it's not, we can't just say that the Israelites were sort of choosing purely for their own understanding where the Levites would go. So a nice little insight into the Parsha, into the relationship between the Israelites, the Levites, and the Kohanim, at least in the time of the temple in the land of Israel. Always a pleasure learning with you, and we'll see you again next week.